So I'm going to talk embarrassing shit about Chelsea until she brings me a joint or says something in the chat. And when I say joint, I of course mean legal tobacco cigarette. So all day long she's been listening to music, right? And she's been singing along. She listened to a lot of Manson today. And she kind of sings along in this very like Mr. Hanky kind of voice. She'd be like, pseudo morals work real well on your talk shows for the week. Selective judgment, good garbages don't mean a fuck to me. Get your gun. It's true, man. She's been going around the whole house just singing Manson songs in that high-pitched voice, you know? We're killing strangers. We're killing strangers. We're killing strangers so we don't kill the ones that we love. Here's basically where I am. And I disagree with this to some extent. Like if I was going to criticize this, I think I'm a little bit more of an essentialist than it claims I am. I don't really see how I have anything in the punitive justice category. I think justice should be 100% rehabilitative. So I think that, that should just be 100%. Progressivism versus conservatism. I think I'm a little bit more conservative than they say I am, honestly. So I'd probably bump that up a smidgen. Internationalism versus nationalism. I feel like I'm a little bit more nationalistic than it says I am as well. Communism versus capitalism. That's probably about right. Regulationism versus laissez-faire. I would say, once again, I think I'm a little bit more laissez-faire than they say I am. Not much, but a little. Ecology versus productivism. I think that I don't know that if I actually am more ecologically friendly than they say I am, but I think I aspire to be a little bit more ecologically friendly than that. Revolution versus reformism. I think they pretty much got me pegged there. So,
and entertainment. Disagree. The reason I say disagree
well, of course,
is because
everyone knows shut up. Everyone knows the reason you disagree. Whatever bullshit you're about to say is totally false. The reason that you disagree with that is because you are that. Okay? I guess I'm that too. I'm just more entertaining than you.
Fusion, we just ignored it until the last 5 minutes.
Well, I guess I'm wrong on that actually, because he's getting 778,833 views in a few days. It would take me like 10 videos to get to that. So I guess he's more entertaining than me. I have to accept that, at least to whatever segment of the population he somehow appeals to.
From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. Strongly disagree, because need should not dictate either moral worth or the morality of the thing that you need. It's a sad reflection on our...
Yeah, why not? So if there's a person if Ben Shapiro's walking down the street, deedly-doo, and he sees like a man on the street, who is destitute, his clothes are rags, he's suffering from, some advanced like schizoaffective disorder or something, and he's got no food, he's got no, so this person needs, at this point, he needs health care, mental health care, probably needs some other sorts of health care as well. He needs a roof over his head. He needs food. So in Ben Shapiro's world, the moral thing is let that person who is, mentally compromised, wander the street in rags and suffer and, scrounge and die on the streets. That's the moral thing to do. And giving that person food, clothing, shelter, and care and treating them with compassion and dignity like a human being is immoral somehow. And, there's the fundamental difference between the Ben Shapiro mindset and the mindset of anyone who's not a fucking sociopathic, narcissistic scumfuck, basically.
The rich are too highly taxed. Strongly agree. And by the way, I agreed with this when I was making 50, 60 grand a year. Of course the rich are too high.
You were never making 50, 60 grand a year. Okay? Maybe you were making that on paper at some point, but everyone... Sorry, excuse me while I die for a second. Everyone knows that you have a rich Hollywood producer daddy and a rich fucking musician mommy, and that you grew up in the mansions of in a mansion in Hollywood. So don't give me this like, oh, well, I used to just make $50,000 or $60,000. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You're full of shit. You always had mommy and daddy money. So shut up.
When rich people pay more for medical care, where do you think that money goes? It goes into the medical system. It's then reinvested in drug development, reinvested in medical innovation. So the answer is agree. But again, like, you can tell who wrote these questions. I mean, these questions are obviously written
they were written by fucking Joseph Stalin. That's for sure. You can tell who wrote these questions. Bunch of liberal nut jobs out there. Like, every time the fucking candy bar company that sells these chocolate candy bars puts out some commercial and tells you we're this feel-good, wonderful fucking product, and they don't show you the fucking picture of the fucking, 8-year-old fucking African boy with a fucking gun to his head picking these fucking cocoa beans and shit. Whoa. What the hell? Hey, buddy. You just came right the fuck out of nowhere. And this cat, he can get away with just telling you like, oh, he's a good cat. And the government isn't even stopping him, even though it's clearly a fucking lie. He's clearly the fucking embodiment of pure evil. Hold on, I think this calls for No, you're not allowed to go anywhere. You came here of your own volition. Now you're stuck here. Aw. He's such a good boy. Yeah. What a sweet kitty. This cat's almost as evil as Ben Shapiro, but much cuddlier.
Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I generally disagree with that. I'm not in favor of spanking, and I don't think it's natural for children to...
I'm not in favor of spanking unless it's my beautiful doctor wife spanking my naughty little butt in the bedroom every night.
And if you don't believe me, check out the Taliban. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect to...
Check out the Taliban. Oh, the Taliban. They're the evil ones. Not us. We're pure good. We've never harmed anyone that didn't deserve it. Right? The Talibans they're the bad guy. But America, we are without sin. We are blameless. The only people we hurt are bad people, right? We don't bomb innocent civilians. That's not something we've ever done. Maybe on accident a couple times here and there. Whoops, bomb slipped. Oh, we blew up an orphanage. But it was an accident. No use crying over spilt fucking orphan blood. But we don't harm people intentionally, I mean, well, I guess we do here and there, maybe occasionally. But they deserve it. They deserve it for being, even if they weren't bad, they were too close to people who were bad, or they were located somewhere that's just inherently bad geographically until we take it over, then it's good. But the Taliban, yeah, they're the ones spreading misery across the fucking globe, for sure.
When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things.
Here's my problem with a question like that on this test. How's that even fucking a political goddamn question? Like, that sounds more about, like, your general life philosophy to me. I guess there might be some sort of political dimension to that somewhere, but overtly it's not a fucking political question. Like the politiscales test I took earlier, that didn't have no fucking like stupid, if you're troubled, it's best not to think about it, but keep busy with more cheerful things. Like that's how, what does that tell you about a person's politics? Like, I don't know if a person who states that is liberal or conservative or fucking communist, fascist, centrist. I mean, that doesn't tell me goddamn shit. It just tells me they're a fucking optimist or that they ignore their problems or whatever you want to say about it.
In the name of counterterrorism. In the United States, I'm going to go slightly disagree, but I'm kind of torn on this one. I'm like between agree and disagree, honestly. A significant...
Wait, what? Really? Haven't you like called yourself a libertarian before? Like, don't you still say that?
Right, libertarian.
And you're really going to be, you really struggle with this civil liberties question? Like, should we curtail our civil liberties and freedoms to fight terrorism? You know, it's a tough one. It's a toughie. Wow. What a fucking chicken shit, little cowardly cuck bitch. Please, Daddy. I mean, like, doesn't that undermine everything else he said about how he hates the government throughout this entire fucking process? And like, the freer the markets, the freer the people, and all this, I believe in freedom and I'm against the government. But then he gets to the question, like, should the government take away your freedom if they can keep you safe from the bad people? And he's like, yeah, I think they should. Or maybe I'm going to say they shouldn't, but I'm really torn on that.
The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Strongly agree. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed.
I'm obviously against the death penalty. Except for Ben Shapiro. I think maybe we should execute him.
And people below to be commanded. Strongly disagree.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You only disagree with that when you're talking about the government. When it comes to giant corporations exploiting their fucking workers and paying them dog shit and then controlling every fucking aspect of their lives, you're totally in favor of that. So don't fucking act for a second like you're against the idea of people who are above with the fucking whip in hand whipping the fucking backs of the slaves. You're not against that, you fucking lying cocksucking piece of shit. You're not even remotely against that.
The market decides all of that. I'm not going to decide who's more important and who's less important, and anybody who tries to on one end or the other end is doing the wrong thing. Mothers may have careers.
We must bow to the wisdom of the market. Yes, wise market, you know all, you see all. Okay. So if it's up to the market to, dictate that stuff, then what about these like people who sold? What about the people who sold like bum fights? Here's two bums fighting over a ham sandwich, and we're gonna make fucking $1 million off it. If the market decides like this is entertainment, this is good. No one else should have any say in that. No one should be like, hey, this is fucked up. There's larger consequences here than just like the market has spoken. The market knows. It's not up to me to determine the value of something. The market has said that the guy who exploits bums and makes them fight and humiliate themselves and stuff is a fucking capitalistic genius who should be lauded and celebrated.
Should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. So the answer is agree, but it depends on the alternative. I have a sort of hierarchy in terms of...
Yeah, we got to make this caveat. All right, well, look, I think the gays should be allowed to do it, but I got to have this huge, giant list of caveats first, because I can't just respect human rights. I got to fucking, like, he acts like supporting human rights, supporting the rights of people to be treated equally under the law is something that he needs to make, like, a litany of excuses for to his fucking regressive piece of shit audience. Like, all right, audience, now don't eat me alive for this, but, I think that in some instances, gay people should have rights. Now, listen, I got to explain this. Like, it's something he fucking feels, like, apologetic for. Like, all right, well,
If you're talking about a stable, loving, same-sex couple, versus an orphanage where kids are being ignored, then obviously I think that same-sex couples should be.
I think we should let the market decide. Just let these couples bid on the children, you know? Because the market knows better, right, Ben? Like, why are you fucking getting all this, like, government and morality and shit involved? Like, shouldn't we just let the market determine? Shouldn't we just have fucking orphan slave auctions? Oh, and looks like the diamond mines in Africa just bought up all the kids in the auction. Wonder what they're going to do with them. Well, the market's decided. Who gives a shit? Oh, they're shipping them off to fucking mine for diamonds. Cool.
My general answer is disagree. I don't think that it should be legal, but I think that it's very difficult to draw regulation that is not too heavy-handed in this area. I don't think you have a right to pornography, though. I don't think there's an inherent right to pornography. What?
Yeah, okay. Sure. And Ben Shapiro, he doesn't look at pornography. He just doesn't do it. You know? He's a moral guy. Never once has Ben Shapiro used that laptop in front of him to look at some big-bootied bitch bouncing on a fucking big black dick. Not for a second. That's never happened.
I guess I'll say agree on should be legal for the adult population. I don't know. I'm really torn on this. On a moral level, obviously, I think...
Yeah, you're so libertarian, dude. Oh, my God. Can you just... Wow, he's so libertarian. It's just like... It's like so obvious like how much this guy really fucking appreciates freedom and stuff. You know? Oh, yeah, I love freedom. Oh, except for the freedom to, have my sexual identity fucking respected or, and to have the same equal rights under the law. Or, any freedom that, makes terrorism more of a threat. That's bad. Oh, the freedom to jerk off to other people who film themselves having sex. I don't know about that. I think that maybe we might need someone to step in. I'm just not sure. It's like, how can you fucking possibly describe yourself as any form of libertarian, Ben? You are not a libertarian to even the slightest degree. If this test calls you a libertarian, then you've single-handedly proven that the political compass test is bullshit.
Pornography is one of the great evils in our society. On a legal level, do I think that the government has...
One of the great evils in our society? I could list about 10 billion things that are greater evils in our society, like homelessness. Oh, no, but that's okay because the market made them that way. They just weren't valuable enough members of society. Their needs don't matter. Needs don't dictate morality. So if they're homeless and miserable and destitute, that's fine. That's their natural position. That's where they're supposed to be. So I guess that one's out. I would say exploitation is a bad thing, but, if exploitation can maximize those profits, it must inherently be good because the freer the market, the freer the people. I would say that that's pretty bad. I would say endless wars are pretty bad, but I guess that, you got to fucking bomb those brown people because they're pretty dangerous. I would say income and wealth inequality is a pretty bad thing, but I guess that makes me a communist, which is even worse thing. But no, the true evil in our society is people having sex and then filming it and then other people watching it and jerking off. That's really the pinnacle of evil in our society for sure. I don't buy it. I think this guy is way more authoritarian. I think the real problem is that his brand of authoritarianism is not government authoritarianism. He doesn't like when the authority comes from government. But when the authority comes from, mega corporations and the elite and people with just mountains of money, then he's totally comfortable with it. In fact, someone in the chat just said, I wonder what Ben Shapiro jerks off to. I could tell you what he jerks off to. He jerks off to a world where no one is left to stand in the way of the people who are sitting atop their giant mountains of money dictating what's going to happen and when, who deserves to live, who deserves to die, and so on and so forth. That's what that motherfucker jerks off to. That's his pornography. And I think that's a much greater evil in society than, some people, having some butt sex or some shit.
Right? And on the libertarian versus authoritarian score...
Yeah, whatever. You're a piece of garbage. What political test did I take earlier? I took the Politiscales test.
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk.
Great. Good. Wonderful. Awesome. I hope you get familiar with that strange robotic woman voice from nowhere in particular. That would be Really good.
Where are these plagues coming from? Because they recognized that plagues and pestilence and famines and locust swarms, they were from God. And if we look in the Old Testament, we see the proof of that over and over again.
All right, well, then why don't you guys go back to your studio and fucking shake hands and rub butts and all that shit that you normally fucking do, and just, say God will protect us. Put your money where your mouth is. Like, if you got such strong faith that this is judgment from God, well, obviously, you guys are on God's side. God's not going to judge you. Stop taking these measures that you're obviously taking. Because I've seen Rick Wiles' show before. Usually, him and this guy and there's some other guy, they all sit in a fucking room together with a camera crew somewhere else in the fucking vicinity. They're not doing that right now. They're doing this over Skype, which leads me to believe they're worried about the coronavirus, but at the same time, they're right now saying the coronavirus is just judgment from God and it's only killing bad people who are against Jesus.
You're in a conversation about abortion, and
Okay.
someone said,
I try to avoid that.
let's be clear, rape is awful. Rape.
Thanks. You're right. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you're taking a strong stance on that. Rape is awful. Let's be clear. Because, if you hadn't explicitly said that, I'd have been like, I bet you these people love rape.
In cases of rape that lead to conception, there are 3 parties involved: the rapist, the woman, and the child.
No. Why are you showing me a picture of a fucking fully formed child? That's not a party to this. The party involved is, like, show me the fucking cluster of cells that is the fucking fertilized egg, or show me, like, a little fetus. Don't show me this fully formed, like, 8-year-old kid of indeterminate gender that's, like, another person involved in this fucking struggle.
If we wouldn't punish a child after they are born, why should we punish a child before she is born?
It's not a punishment. It's not a fucking punishment. The baby is not being aborted to punish the baby. The baby is being aborted because the mother did not want it, first of all, and didn't even make a bad choice to have it, but had it forced upon her by someone that she did not want to have sex with. So it's just undoing that. And, by the way, what if this mother is unable to love this child because they know that it's the product of a rapist? And also, you conservatives, you're the ones who believe, like, that there's no, like, we just saw in the Ben Shapiro thing, like, there's certain people that just can't be they can't be rehabilitated. We just have to look at the recidivism rates. There's just people out there that are naturally pieces of shit, that are just naturally bad. Well, if there's people out there who are just naturally bad, then why would you want those rapist genes to continue? What if that kid has the rape gene? And I find that to be a ridiculous argument, but by your own fucking logic, I don't know that it is a ridiculous argument from your worldview, from the perspective of your fucked up worldview. That's what I'm saying. We have way too many arguments about the quantity of government and not nearly enough about the quality of government. It's almost like people could just get too hung up on it. Like, if you apply it to, like, anything else in life, like, if you have, like, a shitty fucking giant tub of fucking ice cream, it's like the worst fucking ice cream. It's like, pralines and dog shit or something. And you're just eating this fucking giant tub of ice cream. And you're like, oh, this ice cream is gross. What we need is less ice cream. It's like, no. How about we just get a giant tub of, like, some really fucking awesome ice cream with, like, instead of dog shit, there's, like, bits of fucking, like, Reese's peanut butter cups in it or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, something good. Like, let's get some fucking, some fish food or some fucking mint chocolate chip or whatever the fuck you like. Rocky Road. I don't know. Let's get a good thing of ice cream. I don't know that it's necessarily like, oh, this is just a big tub of fucking awful, dog shit ice cream. so we just need less of it. I think what we need is like just better ice cream. And you can apply that to any fucking thing, you know, any analogy you want to make. Like if you listen to shitty music, you don't just need less shitty music, you need good music. You know, it applies to any fucking thing. And I don't see like where the fucking mental hang up is when it comes to like government. If the government sucks, you don't necessarily need less of the shitty government. Maybe you need a better government. But whatever. Fish food. Not fish food with an F, you moron. PH. The fucking Ben and Jerry. You goddamn Philistine motherfucker in the goddamn chat asking me fish food with an F. Fish food? You stupid son of a bitch. Talk about this. Talk about this shit right here, you moron. Look. This is fish food. Okay? It's fucking ice cream. All right? It's got like caramel and shit in it. It's not really fish food, okay? Stop. Maybe you're from fucking Uzbekistan or some motherfucking bullshit and you don't understand what the fuck is going on.
These include getting married before having a child, making a family, getting a job, self-discipline, delayed gratification, and patriotism.
I don't like any of those things. Those are not my values.
The percentage of American adults who have never been married and who have no children is at an historic high.
Thank God.
Young people have been told God is nonsense, their country is essentially evil, their past is deplorable, their future is bleak, and marriage and children are not important. Why are so many young...
I wish people were told that. That would be awesome if people were actually told that, because then I could just kind of rest on my laurels and be like, yes, I could just relax now. But unfortunately, people don't believe that, because all those things that people are supposedly being told are all true. Every single one of those statements I 100% agree with. But those opinions have made me a pariah for the entire duration of my life. So I don't see how this is like somehow like society's on board with this. There's a ton of fucking backlash if you state any of those opinions. Obviously there are people who believe those things, and some of them are here in this chat right now, but I don't think they're anywhere near the majority in this country.
And what does that leave them with? No meaning. But there is always Instagram. I'm Dennis Prager.
Yeah, there is. Some of those bitches on Instagram. Man, they need to let people post fucking porn on Instagram, man. Because, I mean, like 90% of what Instagram is, at least for me, I don't know, maybe you guys disagree on this, but like 90% of what Instagram is for me is like following girls with gigantic fucking asses that just post pictures of their asses all day long. That's what Instagram exists for. There's no other reason for it to be. So, like, it just needs to embrace its true nature and start showing me, like, there at least needs to be, like, Instagram fucking nights or something, like, where you fucking click on the special hidden tab and it takes you to the real Instagram or some shit. When it comes to the Rian Johnson Star Wars movie, it's hard to even remember the names of them. Like, when I think, like, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, I remember that shit. When it comes to these new fucking movies, I gotta sit here and like, oh, what was the first one called again? Oh, what was the second one called again? Like, they don't even have memorable fucking names. Like, ugh. So anyways, what was the fucking second one called? Fucking Ray pounds her pussy with a fucking alien dildo, part 7. What the fuck? What was the fucking second one called? What was the Rian Johnson one called? God damn it. Someone know? Someone's got to remember this shit. Last Jedi. Yeah. The Last fucking Jedi. Rogue One was possibly as bad as Rise of Skywalker. I feel like they were both pretty much... Oh, no, Rogue One is not nearly as bad as Rise of Skywalker. I'd say it's on, like, the same level as, to me, as, like, The Last Jedi. It's, like, just kind of like, meh. Terrible movie, but not, like, not painfully bad. To me, Rise of Skywalker was like a slap in the fuck. No, it's not a slap in the face. It's too kind. It's like having your balls twisted until they fucking pop out of their fucking the scrotum, and then have some fucking professional boxer use them as a fucking speed bag or something. It's not. It's the most unpleasant. Whatever the most unpleasant thing is you could fucking imagine. That's fucking Rise of Skywalker to me.